Children of the Night Vampires was released in 1996, written by Paul Collette and Steve Miller, Jonathan Caspian, Carol Johnson, with interior art by Jason Burrows and a cover by Daniel Horn. It is the first in a new series of supplements to take the place of the Van Richten guides. The guide details 13 unique vampires and the short adventures where players will confront them. Our first vampire on the list, Jandir Sunstar, is an elfin vampire who was featured in the first Ravenloft novel, Vampires of the Mist. He was the featured character. He died at the end of the novel but was brought back for this supplement. The adventurer, the Charnel House, for levels 6 to 9, has the heroes help Jandir since he's not evil. Auden Beck is a pirate vampire who takes the form of an octopus. The Rewards of Courage for levels 5 to 9 is a sea adventure and happens on a ship. Lisa von Zarovich is the I think I got the right amount of greats, niece of Strahd von Zarovich, and was featured in the module Thoughts of Darkness. The Turning Day, which is levels 4 to 8, actually has the heroes unknowingly or knowingly working for Strahd to put his beloved niece in a vampiric coma. They hate each other. Now this adventure will, if you go by levels though, take place before Thoughts of Darkness, since Thoughts of Darkness is one of the highest level adventures in the Ravenloft campaign setting. Musha is a vampire covered in sores and scar tissue, kind of like he has leprosy. He drains his victims of bodily fluids. The adventure The Wild Child for levels 3 to 5 takes place in the domain of Sibua, which is an island of terror now, but will soon be a cluster, the Amber Waste. It's an Egyptian domain. This is basically, it introduces the wild children to the domain. There's a bunch of children who don't speak. They're wild children, and they're in the domain. Sebua usually leaves them alone for some reason. Okay, now I don't know how I'm going to pronounce this one. This is a crazy one. My Ixit Zal L. Okay, I'm going to go with that. MYXITIZAJAL. Okay, is a manta ray vampire. And the adventure, the ritual retreats for levels 3 to 5, takes place in Saran. So if you have a little campaign you want to go there, you can add this to that. Work well with Night of the Walking Dead and a few other little short adventures Ravenloft will put out for Saranj. Lady Adeline is an elven vampire with a hideously scarred face. She is the Lord of Valkan, Baron Urk von Karnoff's right-hand man or woman. She's like the hand of the king. The Maze of Thorns adventure for level 6 to 9 is one of the highlights of the supplement, so she can be a very important NPC. Don Pablo is a man who was in the process of being turned into a vampire when his vampiric master was killed. He's forever locked in that stage of not quite human and not quite vampire. His adventure, The Victim, is for levels 4 to 5. Alexei is a Vistani who has been turned into a vampire. His adventure To Conquer Fear for levels 4 to 5 can be connected with the earlier adventure The Charnel House. This adventure is more about saving Alexei than killing him. Jack Be Quick, get it, is a vampire who's invisible and who can only turn visible when he feeds, but he has to scare them first. His adventure Jack's House of Horrors for levels 3 to 9 is another highlight of this supplement. It's kind of like a funhouse, spooky funhouse adventure. Lady Heather Shadowbrook is a druid who has to feed on the blood of animals and tree sap. Her adventure, The Missing Druids, is for levels 5 to 8. And Ezra is a vampire thief who runs a thieves guild. Guild of Thieves is an adventure for levels 7 to 10. Mulgar D. Adjust is a dwarven vampire and he works for Azelin. He will show up in future Ravenloft products, so he kind of becomes a little bit of importance. His adventure, The Way Out, is for levels 7 to 10. Marla is a Penanggalan. Oh boy. Penanggalan. It's one of them vampires whose heads and guts detaches from their body and flies around to feed. She would become a vampire with the help of the Gentleman Caller. It was first mentioned in The Evil Eye and will be another prominent figure. Love Lies Dying is her adventure for levels 4 to 7. For the first product in the series, Children of the Night Vampires is pretty good. Though the series would improve, this was a good first start. Most of the adventures and their villains are written well enough to plug in any campaign, and several of the vampires make good at reoccurring villains. There are a few forgettable entries in this supplement, but the positives do outweigh the negatives here, and each vampire is thoroughly unique. I do recommend it. Behold the many faces of mankind's darkest enemy. Twin puncture wounds mark the kiss of the Nosferatu. Blood trickles with the slow crawl of despair. A shadow lingers, black against black. Chill mist clings damply to every surface, and the echo of an anguished shriek still hangs in the air. Vampires introduces 13 unique and terrifying villains of horrific proportions. Each one challenges vampiric hunters to rethink common perceptions of these foes, for these are no ordinary undead. Each creature presented in this book is a unique individual with its own history, personality, and powers. The Lords of the Night that adventurers will meet will include Jandir Sunstar, one of the oldest vampires in the Land of the Mist. Migzitulal, a sea-going monster with a taste for fishermen. Lady Adeline, an elf vampire who seeks out light rather than hiding from it. Liza von Zarovich, who covets the power of her great uncle Strahd, and many more. These are the Children of the Night. Children of the Night Vampires is the first book in a new series that brings to unlife the creatures types treated in the best-selling Van Richten guides. Each volume offers biographies of distinct and monstrous villains, easily added to any game, short adventures featuring each nemesis, which can stand alone or form a mini-campaign, unique ways to fight each foe, and adventure hooks for using them as recurring villains for all character levels.